So recently I just got back from a trip from the Black Hills out in South Dakota. When I was on that trip, I actually went to an old gold mine. Now the really cool thing about that is during the tour, I was actually able to fill a baggie full of rocks that we found in the mine. Now the cool thing about that mine is that it's mainly filled with graphite and sulfur. So I thought, why not take some of this rock, bring it home, and make an awesome drawing with it. So that's exactly what we're gonna be doing today. Now, one thing I need to figure out though is how this is gonna act on paper. Now it's still graphite, so I know it's gonna draw on the paper, but one thing I need to figure out is how well it's gonna draw, because it's still a rock at this point. It's not refined or anything like that. So I think it's time for a little bit of experimentation. All right, let's get this out of the bag here. Got a couple chunks. Alright, so I just kind of want to see how well. Oh, that's actually not too bad. It's pretty light. You gotta push pretty darn hard, but it works. It's definitely graphite. Guys, I'm using graphite from a mine. It's awesome. A little brush here. Okay, so I could use a brush to get a little gradient, because this is really hard. You know, it's not refined, so it's really hard stone, so it's hard to kind of get a gradient with this. So it'll be kind of nice. I can use just a little bit of water, just a little bit of water to get some shading out of this. I should ground up one of these, get a nice little powder out of it. Okay, I need to get a hammer, so let's go get a hammer. Oh, probably need the rocks. Stormy, Leia. Hi, Stormy. No, you can't have this. This is rock. Hi, Leia. No, this is rock. It's not a treat. Oh, I'm gonna have to get you guys a treat now, huh? Okay, let's go get a treat. Still got my powder. Got our powder. Okay, I could have done that more gracefully. Oh yeah, this will be very useful. Like this, and then... Okay, so I think I know how it's all gonna actually work on paper. I'm gonna use Bristol paper because it's a little bit thicker, and since it's stone, it's gonna leave a little bit of crease marks, so I don't want the paper to be really thin or just easily tearable. So, or get it? Terrible, like dad jokes, sorry. But now I'm gonna grab my sketchbook, I'm gonna use an actual pencil and kind of give myself a basic idea of what I'm gonna do for this drawing. And then for the final piece, I am only gonna use the stones. So this should be fun. So my plan for this piece was to make something that had to do with a mine or a cave as its subject. I felt that this would be fitting based on the fact that I actually had to go to a mine to retrieve these rocks. I first was thinking I would make something that had someone standing inside a massive cave or something like that, but I decided to go with the perspective of the entrance of the cave instead. I thought this would work well in conveying the size easier with these materials. These rocks were not easy to work with, so I wanted to make it as easy as I possibly could when it came to shading and adding depth to this piece. So I was hoping that as I used these rocks to draw with, I would get used to them as the drawing went along, but sadly that was not the case at all. I think I actually started getting more and more frustrated using this as time went on. Now saying that, it was really cool and kind of fun to do something a little bit more unconventional, and it was a little more freeing, and it kind of brought me back to my days of when I was in college, where we were actually kind of forced to experiment with our art a lot. Okay, so I think this part right here is probably one of the hardest parts of this entire piece. I wanted to make this little silhouette of an adventurer type character at the entrance of the cave. I wanted to have him super small to make the whole scene feel way bigger than you actually think it is when you first look at it. But the problem was I was trying to make something so small using these rocks, and it's really hard to get a lot of control and detail when you're using these, and I made like 8 attempts trying to make it. I cut out most of it since it was just me making a line and then going nope and erasing it, and actually I tore the paper a couple times. If you look really close, I tore the paper at least 4 times trying to make the little character, which sadly moved him further and further to the right each time I ripped it, and that was the opposite side of where I wanted him standing. But oh well, I managed to actually get something that slightly resembled a tiny human character in the end, so I won't complain too much. Now thankfully with these stones ground up, it made it really easy to add gradients and extra shading into this piece. One thing that was really cool was when I added the water, it actually activated the color of the sulfur that was also in these stones as well. So all the areas that I used some water and a brush, you can actually notice a little hint of orangish and brown color. I thought this would really help add a lot of character to the final look of this piece. Now to add some final touches to this piece, I grabbed a small eraser and started outlining a little bit of an illuminated face of a demon monster thing that was lurking in the cave. Now I wasn't extremely happy with how this part looked, but I do think it adds a lot more to the scale of the little character down at the entrance, and adds just a little more to the story of this piece. Though this piece is not the prettiest thing I have ever made, I am really quite happy with how the whole thing actually turned out, and I hope you all like the final outcome of this piece as well. Alright everyone, so here it is, the finished piece using graphite that I got out of a mine. Now, was this fun? No. Was it easy? Still no. Was it rewarding though? Kind of. I mean, honestly, I would just go to the dollar store and get yourself a pencil. It'd be a lot easier. But saying that, this did turn out way better than I thought it would. But okay, fine. It was a little fun, but I still don't suggest doing it. Now, I suggest going to the mine. That was really cool. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I have a fun video planned for the next one coming out. It may or may not have anything to do with my dog. So if that sounds fun to you, make sure you're subscribed if you're not yet. And like always, keep drawing, and until next time, bye.